comrades, siyabulisa kubuholi okusanda kusijoyina. Sibulise kubuholi the National Executive Committee. Siyambona uComrade umama uNoqawu, Comrade umama uPhemi Stosh Majodina ophinda abe nguChief Whip. Sibingelele kubaba uZizikodwa. Sibingelele kubaba wethu uKhuzeni. Sibingelele kumama uNonhlanhla Khoza sihlalo wamakhosikazi. Sibingelele kuComrade uXabhashe noMancinza. Bonilo ngapha ku. Oh, hey, ne-Chief Yellow Bone ngapha ya. Siyabingelela leadership. Sibingelele kuma-PEC members wonke akhona. Sibingelele kuma-RTT members akhona. Sibingelele kwi-Youth League. Sibingelele kwi-REC, Women's League in the region. Sibingelele kwi-SANCO. Sibingelele kwi-MKVA, siyambona usihlalo. Sibingelele ngokukhulu ukuzithoba kwi-delegation that comes from Zimbabwe. Sibingelele ngokukhulu ukuzithoba abafundisi bethu, siyambona uchaplain wakaKhongolose. Bese ngokukhulu ukuzithoba sibingelele ama-branch ka-ANC Moses Mabhida region. Yetha Moses Mabhida, yetha! Amandla! I-program yethu ayizuba inde kakhulu. Kodwa futhi ayizuba mfishane because we are here to celebrate the life of a giant. A giant that is known in the whole world for his humor. A humor that was loved and hated by most. But before we begin, we would like to, if comrades can stand so that we can sing the national anthem and the AU anthem.
Let us
Thank you very much. Comrades, first and foremost, we'd like to apologize. For some reason, our aircon is not functional. And we sincerely apologize, but it is being attended to. We apologize also to the President. Normally, when we come to City Hall, we have to fetch jackets from our cars because it's normally very cold. So today, it means the President has brought the Limpopo sun. Comrade President, you come to our province and our region when we are mourning the death of our sister, a revolutionary that was remembered yesterday. Our very own Deputy Minister of Minerals and Energy, Comrade Ubavelile, Gloria Wakahlongwa, who tragically passed away on the 13th of September. You also join us, President, and we are aware that you've just went and paid your tribute to the family of a mother who tragically also lost all of her 4 kids within this region. It has been a very difficult week, but we are soldiering on. And I know we had just stood up, but I will request that we just observe a moment of silence for our heroes and heroines who have left us so soon in these past weeks, not only the ones that have been mentioned, but also the ones that belong to branches, as well as our own families. If we can just rise and observe a moment of silence in their honor. May their souls rest in peace. Siyabonga. Comrades, we all know ukuthi ke kwaKhongolose nothing starts ngaphandle kokuyibika kongaphezulu. We are therefore going to call upon our Chaplain General Ubaba Uluvuno to come and open this gathering with prayer. Baba Uluvuno.
Program Director, Ngabingelela Kulu, President wetu, Wombutho wetu, Baba Ramaphosa, nethimba lonke lobuholi bukaKhongolose ofika nalo kulesifunda sakithi. Ngibingelele kuzeni nobuholi bonke beprovince yakithi KwaZulu-Natal, Women's League, ngiyabingelela. Youth League, ngiyabingelela kumadlela ndawonye yonke kaKhongolose nabo bonke abakhona phansi kwalompheme. Sanibonani egameni likaJesu. Sizofunda ivesi elilodwa bese siyakhuleka. njengokosiko esifundiswe ngalo lokuba umkhuleko ohambisana nevesi. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Lina vesi elifundeka ngale ndlela. Ucindezela kuyamhlanyisa umuntu noma ehlakaniphile. Nokuthengwa ngenzuzo kuyayikhubaza ingqondo. Kulamaviki aphelile leli verse Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 7. Lamaviki aphelile President bengise Zimbabwe ngokomsebenzi ebandla engikulo. I've learned with border gate sesifika khona into engingakaze ngiyizwe. Sagcwalisisa iform noma sasigqokile okhololo. Leli form kuthiwa uzoshumayela yini kulelizwe noma uzofika uthandaze wenzeni. Sachaza ukuthi cha singabefundisi sizele nje umhlangano webandla kwathiwa ke asinalo ilungelo lokushumayela singaligcwalisanga. Nelokwenza noma ngabe yini kodwa kumele siqale sigcwalise leli form. Nebala saligcwalisa President. Ngase ngisalelwa umbuzo othi kazikwela kithi kuyenzeka yini umuntu noma kubonakala ukuthi uyisithunywa sikaNkulunkulu aligcwalise leli form ukuthi uzokwenzani noma sikwethemba ukuthi ugqoka ukhololo asinankinga nalokho kodwa gcwalisa iform ukuze sazi ukuthi uphethwephi ukuze mawusuqala wenza into ephambene nale odwizela sikwazi ukuthi sikhulume nama principles akho ukuthi nange senza into angashonga ukuthi uzoyenza. Umbuzo engibe nawo ke President ukuthi sesinabaningi abavela ngaphandle asinankinga nabo kodwa sinenkinga nento ababese beyayenza yokuthi bathwala besifazane bethu babayise endaweni esingazazi bayiziqila zocansi. Nginenkinga nokudayiswa kwama drugs kwabantu abafaka ukhololo kanye nami ezweni lakithi sinomthetho ohlonipheke kangaka. Ngibe naleyo nkinga ingakho ke President ngihlushwe leli verse elithi surely oppression makes the wise foolish and a bribe corrupts the heart. Ngoba ucindezelo lusakhona mongameli. Sikwistage sesine socindezelo nokwenza ukhongolose President aqhubeka be relevant empilweni zabantu. The first operation esibenayo eqalwe abantu abafaka ukhololo bephethe iBhayibheli benza icolonialism ezweni lakithi. Sacabanga ukuthi beza noNkulunkulu yedwa kanti beza nokuthi umhlaba uthathwe yibona. Sagcina sisele singenawo umhlaba. Angikaze ngizwe mina kuthiwa khona isonto labamhlophe elafika nomhlaba. Lafika liphethe iBhayibheli kodwa la umhlaba. Kunama banks aphethe umhlaba. Angizange kukhona ibank elifike nomhlaba. The second colonialism oppression esibenayo ezweni lakithi mongameli ucindezelo lwesibili lomuntu omnyama okwenza ukuthi ukhongolo sube relevant ukuqhubeka nokulwela abantu abamnyama kube ubandlululo apartheid eyafika yasihlubula ubuAfrika bethu nobuntu bethu. Ngakho ke leli verse lithi ke ukucindezela noma umuntu ehlakaniphile akusho ukuthi asihlakaniphile sihlakaniphile kodwa ngenxa yencindezelo sekungazi ukuthi asizibona izinto esiziphilelayo singabantu abamnyama. The third operation President segregation la sihlukaniswa ngokwebala la sihlukaniswa ngokwezibongo la sihlukaniswa ngokolimi esilikhulumayo. Namhlanje President sikwisigaba sesine sokucindezela komuntu omnyama okuyidemocracy la kungasathiwa nje kuphela solihlukanisa ngokobuzwe nangokukhuluma nangokwani kodwa sesizonicindezela ngokomnotho. Ngakho ANC personal nanjengoba ngiyiqabane ngiyabona ukuthi sekhona isidingo mongameli sokuthi umuntu akhululeke ngokomnotho. Sikhululeke evotini kodwa umnotho akuwona wethu. Kubalulekile ukuthi njengoba sicindezelwe lezi igaba ezintathu sikulesi sesine kubiza umbutho wethu mongameli ukuthi sihlangane ngoba njengalesi sikhathi esikuso ngithe ngibuye eZimbabwe bekunabantu abashayo ekuthiwe bangaba ngaphandle ukuze singayixoxi kahle indaba yomhlaba siphazanyisiwe kodwa kufanele siqhubeke nokuvumela abantu abaphazamisa iprogram yesikhathi esikusona ukuthi umhlaba awubuyele kubantu kodwa ubuyele ngendlela enokulungisa. Okunye mongameli okumele siqikelele silombutho ngoba yithi esiphethe izwe ukuqikelela ama-bribe angenasidingo. Lithi leli vesi le-bribe iyayiqhubezela phambili corruption. Bekumeleke senze konke okusemandleni ethu ma-comrade ukuthembeka noma lingekho iphoyisa elisemva kwethu elingasenza sithembeke. Thembeka kuqala kumuntu eyedwa ekhaya aphuma yokupractice e-ofisini anikezelwe lona athembeke nakwi-position anikezelwe yona. Sinenkinga mongameli sekuneyilate ezibaningi kanti ukhongolose uyeka. Bekufanele ke president sikuqikelela ukuthi singazivumeli ilate engenasidingo except isilate esizoyisa umbutho wethu phambili. Ziningi azisakho, ziningi ziyahlukanisa. Nase bekhethiwe sibe singabethembi ukuthi sikhethe kahle. Bekufanele sithi masiya kwi-conference ne-conference siye siphethe imandate ethi abantu bakithi sibakhulula kanjani. Siphume nekhambi lokubakhulula sifaka abantu abazoba relevant ekusizeni imiphakathi yethu. Fisa-ke President sengithandaza ngithe lona umbuzo engiqale ngawo ngathi usiyonginika impendulo sesisobabili. Singenze njani kwi-constitution yethu ukulungisa ukuthi laba bafaka ukhololo kanye nami abeze beqondile. Singakulungisa kanjani kwingwenya i-constitution yethu ngoba amabandla abarejistiwe kwi-system yethu yet bona abathembekile kwi-constitution ehlonishwa umhlaba wonke. Let's bow our heads and pray. uNkulunkulu wethu ngumnikazi wokuphila, uyithemba lethu, ngaphandle kwakho asilutho. Nalombutho Nkosi usungulwe ebukhoneni bakho. Nangu president wethu nethimba lonke lombutho wethu likhona. Simlapha uNkulunkulu sikhumbula iqabane lethu esulibizele lapho onke amaqabane nezihlakaniphi zezwe oyibizele khona. Akaphumule kahle ubaba Mugabe sebenzile wakulukulo kuhle laphela Nkosi ibanga kade umisele lona. Namhlanje Nkosi kusele kuthina sizothembeka yini kuloko sidalele khona. Usisa president wethu icabinet yonke asebenza nayo sizwe sonke uNkulunkulu sibone okuhle ekusebenzeni kwethu. Usisa ukuhlangana kwethu egameni lika Jesu. Amen.
Siyabonga baba umfundisi. Sizoqhubekela phambili. As I was sitting there at the back, I'm getting a briefing, but umfundisi is taking longer than the time that we had allocated. Ngithi hayi mina la ndivela khona umfundisi akanqanyuli. Sizoqhubeka neprogram yethu. We will call on one of the delegation from Zimbabwe. We are informed that Ubaba Patrick Zwayo, who is the nephew of President Robert Mugabe, a member of the Politburo, to come and address us for a few minutes on the life and times of Ubaba Mugabe. We are here today because the PwC took a decision to say, we will celebrate the life of President Mugabe. We will not be told by the media on who was President Mugabe. We will celebrate the man he was, not the man we were told who he was or who he was ought to have been. We will celebrate the man who brought democracy in his own country and paved a way forward for us as this particular country, for us also to attain our own freedom and democracy. We are therefore here today to celebrate the life of a great giant within the ranks of the African National Congress, who played a role within the ranks of the Youth League when he was in Fort Hare. We are here to celebrate a life of a hero within the African continent who ensured ukuba thina sibe la sikhona namhlanje. We will not be told how to celebrate his life, but we will celebrate him as we deem fit as the ANC. Baba uzwayo.
Amandla, Ilizwe. Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for providing us with this opportunity to be with you as you celebrate Baba President Mugabe. Allow me, Honorable Chair, to observe all protocols. I am here, Comrade President, representing not just the family of President Robert Mugabe, but I am here representing his colleagues. I'm here with Honorable Minister Kasukuwere, Honorable Member of Parliament, Comrade Mashaya Nombe. Comrade President, when you were in Harare, my cousin, Walter Chidakwa, gave a presentation on behalf of the family. He concluded that presentation by indicating that President Mugabe died a sad, sad, sad man. Comrade President, I feel from wherever President Mugabe is watching from that he is no longer a sad man. I feel, Comrade President, that the ANC has honored him in a way that is befitting of the fact Comrade President, I was told when I started politics that when you get applause, that is when you must stop. I would like to thank you, Comrade President, thank the ANC, and thank the KwaZulu-Natal province for this honor that you've bestowed upon us. Thank you very much, Comrade President.
Mandla! Away too! Siyabonga. Comrades who are at the back, we request that you allow those who are outside to please come and fill in the spaces on the sides as well as at the back there. Can we allow the comrades to come inside so that they can stand at the back? We are aware that there are many comrades who are outside. So if there are spaces that can still accommodate them, can we gladly allow them to please come and join us? If we can just do that with the utmost discipline. Comrades, can we get... Can we request that ile rumo la sechaba libe lilunga? Ile rumo la sechaba libe lilunga. If they are not ready, we will request the provincial chairperson, Comrade Ukuzeni, to come and introduce the first citizen of the ANC and of the country, Baba Kuzeni.
Amandla. Awethu. Kuthiwe ke angizame bakwethu ngoba ile rumo lasitshaba likho. Silawula uherikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Herikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Oh, uherikwa, luherikwa. Uherikwa lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Uherikwa lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa 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 lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Uherikwa lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Uherikwa lalapha Midlands. Uherikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Herikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Herikwa, luherikwa. Herikwa lalapha Midlands. Amandla. Awethu. Long live the spirit of Comrade Gabriel Mugabe, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Olivo Tambo, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Moses Mapita, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Johnny Makatini, long live. Long live the spirit of Mzwandile, long live. Long live the spirit of Stitch Ngubane, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Isaiah Nchangase, long live. Mandla. Comrade President of the African National Congress, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, the leadership of the ANC, the National Executive Committee members, Comrade Pesani, Comrade Sibongile Pesani Nsundu. I start with you because you wear two caps. You are here as the NEC member, but you are here as the caretaker Secretary General of the ANC Youth League, called coordinator of the task team. We greet you, Comrade Pesani, and thanks for being here. We also wish to acknowledge the presence of Comrade former TG, Comrade Pemi Machodina, Zizi Kotwa. Well, we once served together, comrades in the youth league, with these comrades Ningababun, don't think they were part of us, though they are a bit older, but we're all together. The convener of the NEC deployees, Comrade Notawe Mafu, the leadership of the leagues, Comrade Nonhlanhla Khoza of the Women's League, Comrade Inkosi Mshengu, the leadership of the region, the ANC, Comrade Tuways Ulu Papashe, and Comrade Manginza, Comrade Zondi Siabingelela. The leadership of the alliance as a whole, Comrade Zahlulele Luzipo, Comrade Z, I acknowledge you as a member in the leader of SANCO. Ukuba kunjani hayi ngangikhulumisi angikho apho. Comrade Zanele Hlatshwayo, we thank you for being here. The MKMVA, Comrade Mavundla, the general, the chaplain of the province, Ubaba Ulivuno. A special greetings to the delegation from ZANU PF, Comrade Kasakuere, who was part of the youth league of ZANU PF, and the former minister, Comrade Patrick, who just spoke with us, and Comrade Shadrach. Comrades Makabane, we're meeting here to celebrate and commemorate the life of Comrade Robert Mugabe. When the heart of this Pan-African leader ceased to beat on the 6th of September, the whole of Africa was shook. Indeed, he may have left us, but he left us understanding that we are Africa, and Africa is first and foremost for Africans. Comrade Robert Mugabe taught us that there is no one who will ever liberate us except ourselves. It was Robert Mugabe in the United Nations Council who said, and I quote, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, we love you and we respect you so much, but we're not going to ask you to liberate us. We will liberate ourselves from the imperialism and the colonial rule. Close quote. From the leadership of Kwame Nkrumah to the leadership of Oliver Tambo and Joshua Nkomo, we knew that we need to stand together as Africans and fight for our liberation. It was Joshua Nkomo and Oliver Tambo who launched the first operation of Umkhonto weSizwe and Zebra that was aimed to come inside South Africa, which is known as the Wanki Ispolile campaign. But also, a number of comrades of ZANU PF in the late 80s contributed immensely to the liberation of South Africa. And therefore, we recognize Comrade Mugabe as one of those who played a critical role, not only in liberating Zimbabwe, but also SADC countries such as South Africa, Namibia, and others. But besides liberation, he left us having contributed in the building of that vision, which we call Africa Agenda 2063. It is because of him and other outstanding leaders in Africa that today we have begun this ceremony by singing, "O sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky. Let us make Africa the tree of life. This resonates with the words of former president of the ANC, Pilsika Isaka Semi, about his vision about Africa. I'm not a speaker. I was just making remarks so that we introduce the speaker. But we know that today, Africa has an agenda of building a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, an integrated continent of Africa. And we're happy today that we have things such as a free trade agreement, which have been signed by a majority of countries in Africa as a step toward uniting the economies of this continent. We're mindful of the peace effort led by AU, but also the effort led by the ANC itself in stabilizing and creating a peaceful environment in the continent. Having said that, let me allow the president to speak to us. But we are welcoming the president to Moses Mabhida region. This is the region of Herikwala, the lion of the Midland. This is the region of Reji Hadebe, of Zwandile, Mbongwa. But this is a region of Comrade Lujabu Ndlovu. This is a region where workers in Howick never surrendered, even sebeqoshwe bonke, and they stood in 1988. Even sebebulewe abane, they stood. This is a region where in one night we lost more than 7 people in Transfit. The blood of those martyrs have built the ANC here. And that's why this is the first region in KwaZulu-Natal in 1996, in the first local government, where we won overwhelmingly, even when in eThekwini. In eThekwini we won, but we didn't get 50+1. We had to work with the MF at that time. Comrades will remember. But here in Moses Mabhida, we won what was called Indlovu District Council. And that is because of the strength of the ANC under the leadership of the likes of Herikwala. We're hoping that next year the ANC, nationally and in the province, will honor Herikwala, as it will be the centenary of Comrade Herikwala Umtomdala. In commemorating the life of Comrade Mugabe, we must restore the internationalist character of our revolution, the ANC. And as the ANC, we've never been about ourselves. We've regarded ourselves as activists, the agent for change. And that's why we've always been saying, wherever there is injustice, we will be there, pursuing the goals of building democracy, development, and prosperity for the poor. At all times, as the ANC, we've always been on the side of those who fight for the poor and of those who are fighting for democracy. We commemorate Robert Mugabe because he stood with us. We commemorate the life of Comrade Mugabe because he stood with the people of Western Sahara under the occupation by the Morocco regime. We are commemorating the life of Comrade Mugabe because he's one of the leaders who stood with the people of Palestine against the occupation by Israel. We commemorate his life because he is one of those who supported the struggle against the embargo directed to the people of Cuba by the Americans. He stood firm against imperialists. That's why we said the internationalist character of the ANC calls on us to celebrate and commemorate the life of Comrade Gabriel Robert Mugabe. At this time, while I will call the president to the stage, but because Lerumo believes that they can do it better. I'm not sure whether they are ready. I've seen them there. They are sure that they can do it better for themselves. Let's allow them to render one item so that we allow the president to speak to us. Amandla! Long live the spirit of Comrade Robert Mugabe, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Bavelile Hlongwa, long live. Over to you, Lerumo Lasichaba, through the program director.
Sizonge nyange moja
Mandla! Long live the spirit of Umkhonto wesizwe, long live! Long live Umkhonto wesizwe, long live! Comrades, at this moment, we shall call upon the President of the ANC. The President of the ANC is not coming here for the first time. He was here as a worker. He was once here as the SG. He has been here as the Deputy President of the African National Congress and of the country. Comrades, we are calling upon the leader who is well-skilled, trained, and highly disciplined, coming from the ranks of the National Union of Mine Workers, having served as the General Secretary and becoming the first Secretary General of the ANC to be elected after the ANC was unbanned. But is one of those who are very skillful and smart negotiators who led the process of negotiations in the country up until democracy was won. He also led the process of drafting our well-acclaimed constitution, which is respected by all in the civil society. He has been the chairperson of the National Planning Commission at a time when the African National Congress and our government produced the National Development Plan of our country. It is that National Development Plan which proclaim our role and responsibility in Africa. He has been the member of the NEC and elected as the Deputy President of the ANC in 2012 and elected as the President of the ANC in the 54th National Conference of the ANC and became the President of our country and got re-elected as the President of the country in May this year. Let's all stand up and welcome the President of the African National Congress, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to address us today. Mandla!
Amandla! Amandla! Viva African National Congress, viva! Viva! Viva SACP, viva! Viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Viva! Viva Kosatu, viva! Viva! Long live the spirit of Nelson Mandela, long live! Long live! Long live the spirit of Mama Albertina Sisulu, long live! Long live! Long live the spirit of Comrade Henry Gwala, long live! Long live! Long live the spirit of Moses Mabhida, long live! Mandla! Comrades, Program Director, the ANC Provincial Chairperson, Comrade Sihle Zigalala, who ran away when we were supposed to go down. Our guests from ZANU-PF, all the way from Zimbabwe, members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, members of the Provincial Executive Committee, the leadership of the ANC Women's League, the leadership of the ANC Women's League, the leadership of the Veterans League, and the leadership of the SACP, COSATU and SANCO, religious leaders, nomfundisi oshumayela efaka inepolitiki ngaphakathi. And our traditional leaders who are here, comrades and friends. Sanbonani. Dumelang. Abshir. Madekwana. Lochan. Seniyalahleka ke. Ngiyalizwa seniyalahleka manje. Comrades, kuyinjabulo kakhulu kimi ukuthi ngibe phakathi kwenu. Ngikale ngokubonga i-leadership ye-province yethu for organizing these memorial lectures, because these lectures give us an opportunity, comrades, as ANC members, as well as members of society in general, to celebrate the life and the contribution of President Mugabe. But I'd also like to thank our comrades from Zimbabwe for being here today, but particularly for saying that in the way that the ANC is celebrating the life of Comrade Robert Gabriel Mugabe, President Mugabe is smiling wherever he is today. Comrades, this moment gives us an opportunity to reflect on the life of Comrade Robert Mugabe, but also it gives us a moment to reflect on our own struggle, on the challenges and the tasks of our movement, and on our place in the struggle to forge a united, peaceful and prosperous African continent. Earlier this week, former President Thabo Mbeki, in another memorial lecture, elaborated on the complex nature of our struggle. Most importantly, he located the critical role of President Mugabe and the people of Zimbabwe, not only in their own struggle for independence, but in our own struggle for freedom. So these lectures are important as they deepen our understanding, not only, comrades, on President Mugabe and his life, but also on the times that President Mugabe lived through. Mine, comrades, will focus on the lessons that we can draw from President Mugabe's life and his leadership. President Mugabe was more than a representative figure of the struggle. He was more than a representative figure of resilience and triumph of the people of Zimbabwe over oppression and colonialism. He was a towering figure in the struggle against colonialism, oppression, and exploitation. We will remember that soon after they won their own independence, in 1980, they spared no time nor moment to immediately become part of the frontline states. And President Mugabe became the chairperson of the frontline states because he realized that Zimbabwe's independence and freedom was not complete without the freedom of the people of South Africa. He knew that their own independence could be properly sealed only if South Africa was free. And he was prepared to risk everything, to risk the fortunes of their own country. He was prepared to risk the infrastructure of their own country so that we here in South Africa could be free. He was prepared to give free passage to our own soldiers of Umkhonto weSizwe to come through Zimbabwe and to launch operations in South Africa, knowing very well that he would be risking reprisals from the apartheid regime. But did he flinch? Did he hesitate? Not President Robert Gabriel Mugabe. He was prepared to support us to the very end. But President Mugabe was also an African patriot. He was also a partisan who firmly believed in the right of self-determination of the African people. This trait of self-determination, this trait of recognizing his African identity was chiseled into his being in South Africa, where he attended Fort Hare University, the alma mater of many distinguished leaders and liberation struggle stalwarts, such as President Nelson Mandela, President O.R. Tambo, President Yusuf Lule of Uganda, President Cyril Ramaphosa of Botswana, and Prime Minister Ntsumbu Khehle of Lesotho. He attended Fort Hare as a student. Fort Hare had a very lasting impression and impact on President Mugabe. When he spoke at the university's 100th celebration in 2016, he spoke in glowing terms about his university when he said, open quotes, "I personally regard Fort Hare University as the cradle of African anti-colonial ideology and the seminal source of African intellectualism." Here he continues, "I was academically born. Here I was transformed, and here I discovered my African identity and personality," close quotes. That is what Fort Hare did to President Robert Gabriel Mugabe. It gave him an identity that confirmed his personality as an African. We will forever remember him for being a gigantic intellectual. He was one leader who had more degrees than you can ever imagine. More bachelor degrees, more honors degrees, many more master's degrees. President Mugabe was also renowned for his bookishness and for his love for reading and for learning. And this trait of reading he exhibited from a very young age. And it is for this reason that I always say to young people, you must mold yourself around role models like Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Robert Mugabe, because these were well-read leaders of our revolution. They always read and they always had a book in their hands. President Robert Mugabe was known to be bookish, and to a point where even as he was heading cattle in the village, in the veld, he always had a book. His role in leading an education And the healthcare revolution in Zimbabwe is matched by his prominence as an advocate of African unity. As the chairperson of the African Union and SADC, he sought to deepen as well as to broaden unity and encourage Africans to find solutions for African problems. He is the one who coined the phrase, as other countries, particularly the West, kept on trying to impose solutions on Africa and African countries. And he said, please, as Comrade Sihle read his speech in the United Nations, he said, we love you all, but leave us to find solutions for our own African problems, because we strongly believe in self-determination. We must be able to solve our own problems and not import solutions from the West, from the East, or from anywhere else. He was a true Africanist, in fact, a pan-Africanist, who firmly believed in the ability of Africa and African leaders to find solutions for our own problems. And he totally rejected imposed solutions, imposed well thought out suggestions from outside the African continent. And it is for this reason that we must honor President Mugabe for being the pan-Africanist that he was. Resisting always the attempts by former colonizers to rule Africa from across the oceans, President Mugabe insisted that as Africans, we must determine our own destiny, and our destiny must not be determined in foreign capitals of the world. He insisted that we have both the resources and the human capital to solve our own problems. This anti-imperialist and anti-colonial stance that President Mugabe held dear in his heart is precisely what makes our liberation movement revolutionary. His was a simple proposition. The fate of Africa must never be determined elsewhere. It must always be determined on the African soil. And it was on this basis that this proposition, that at a young age he abandoned the material comfort of his education, that his education could give him, and he chose an ungrateful life of struggle. By doing so, he was reducing himself to live in the bush, to be constantly on the run from the brutal authorities, or to serve an indefinite period in traumatizing prisons. For many of his generation, both in Zimbabwe and in the rest of the region, there was no hardship they would not endure, and no sacrifice they would not make to achieve freedom for their people. We will remember when his other peer, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, was even prepared to sacrifice his own life in order that the people of our country could be free. And he was brave enough, comrades, as he stood in the dock during the Rivonia trial, and he said, if needs be, he is prepared even to die so that he can end the white domination of our country by other people. This is the same trait that we see in President Robert Mugabe. there ought to be a deeper understanding in our movement that for the revolution, comrades, to succeed, all of us will need to subordinate our personal interests to those of the organization and those of the people of our country. There ought to be a time, comrades, even now in freedom, when we are prepared as we take our revolution forward so that we can truly and fully transform our country, that we should be willing to say, yes, we are prepared to submit, to subordinate our own underlying personal interests so that the interests of the organization and the interests of the people can be more supreme than my own interests. We must confront, comrades, the emerging tendencies of those who believe that they can be genuine cadres of our movement without sacrificing anything of themselves. Because, comrades, when you join an organization, you are basically saying, I am sacrificing my own freedom, I am sacrificing my own wishes, and I am subjecting myself to the collective of this organization. This is what President Mugabe did. This is what President Nelson Mandela did. This is what O.R. Tambo did. By joining their organizations, they were saying, I am putting myself in your hands, and I'm also prepared to sacrifice even much more, including my own life. The point I'm making, comrades, as we learn from President Mugabe and many other freedom fighters of his time, is that there is no revolution without sacrifice of the self. There is no revolution that can succeed when there are no people, the leadership and the membership, who are not prepared to sacrifice something and to subject themselves to the will and the wishes of their own organization. And it is for this reason that President Mugabe took up arms when it became necessary and engaged in a guerrilla warfare against the racist regime of Ian Smith, rigid on principle, flexible on tactics. When the time came to negotiate the political transition of Zimbabwe to democracy, President Mugabe demonstrated leadership as well as courage. Although he had been brutalized by the Smith regime during the period of struggle, he emerged as a conciliator. He did not seek revenge. Instead, he sought to restore the humanity of his former oppressors and proved to be a visionary leader who was intent on creating a new Zimbabwe founded on the proposition that all human beings are born equal and thus entitled to share the wealth of their land. And regardless of the challenges of change and transformation, and yes, Zimbabwe, our neighbor, has had challenges of transformation and change in large measure. But many other revolutions experience exactly the same. We have been experiencing our own challenges of change and transformation over the past 25 years. And we have had to confront those challenges. And sometimes we have succeeded, and sometimes we have not succeeded in achieving the objectives that our revolution set out to achieve. But the important thing, we've been able to move our country forward just as President Robert Mugabe was able to move Zimbabwe forward to democracy. So we celebrate President Mugabe. Ours is to learn from those who have gone before us and to equip ourselves to better respond to the challenges that we must confront. And us here in South Africa, we also need to learn how our neighbor Zimbabwe was able to navigate their way around their own challenges, around their own triumphs, and around their successes and also drawbacks. President Mugabe cut his political teeth as a member of the ANC Youth League at Fort Hare and subsequently became an integral part of the ANC of Southern Rhodesia. President Oliver Tambo often reminded us that the freedom of the people of Zimbabwe is directly linked to ours. During the dark days of apartheid, President Tambo strongly asserted the common cause of the liberation movements of Southern Africa. And we recall his words when he said, "No element of the Rhodesian colonial state can be expected to defend or administer a patriotic front victory in Zimbabwe. For that reason, as in Angola and Mozambique, we support the demand for unconditional transfer of power to SWAPO of Namibia and to the Zimbabwe Patriotic Front." These were the words of Comrade Oliver Tambo at that time, signifying that Zimbabwe and South Africa are joined at the hip. And this, comrades, has been so, and has also been cemented by the very excellent relationship between the African National Congress and ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF and ANC are joined at the hip, and the two shall never be separated because we are one revolutionary movement. We attend each other's conferences. When they have their conference every year, they invite us. When we have our own conferences and even NGCs, we invite them. We often meet, the secretariats meet, and the presidents are soon going to meet in October. When the former liberation movements meet, we will all be together talking about the challenges that we face now as free and independent countries and governing parties in our own countries. Confronted with a whole number of challenges, but also personal attacks to President Mugabe, his organization as well and his country, President Mugabe remained steadfast and demonstrated unflinching commitment to the ideals for which the liberation struggle stood for. And it is for this reason that we, as the African National Congress, we will always be on the side of ZANU-PF. We will also be on the side of Zimbabwe. And it is for this reason that we are vocally and publicly saying the sanctions that have been imposed on Zimbabwe must be lifted, and they must be lifted now without fail. President Mugabe, as a Pan-Africanist, fought for the unity of all Africans because he believed that it was only when we are united that our cause will triumph. As the ANC, we must tirelessly pursue this vision. We must affirm that we are Africans, not merely comrades because of geography, but because we share with 1 billion people on our continent a common desire for dignity, humanity, equality, and progress. We share a bond that stretches far back into time, that has withstood centuries of exploitation and oppression. As South Africans, we must work with our brothers and sisters across Africa to forge a continent that is united. We must work towards a common future in which the borders that the colonial masters drew on a map can no longer get in the way of progress. We must also work to integrate our economies as envisaged in the agreement that was signed by African states to establish the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, so that goods and services and also people may flow between our countries, so that we may draw on a common pool of investment, of skills, of know-how, of trading together. And this is precisely what used to happen in the pre-colonial days. In pre-colonial days, our forebears used to move around the African continent with ease. They used to trade with each other. They used to have exchanges. They used to have cultural exchanges. And they were there all over the show. We must work for peace, stability, good governance, and democracy. In this vision, comrades, of a united Africa, there can be no place for intolerance, and there can be no place for xenophobia, there can be no place for racism, there can be no place for tribalism, there can be no place for regionalism, there can be no place for nationalism. This is what we stand for, all collectively. Now, as the African National Congress, we must assert through our words as well as through our actions that prejudice, that intolerance, as well as violence will only prolong the suffering of our people. We should therefore, comrades, be deeply disturbed by the violence that we saw in recent weeks that was directed both, and repeat, both at foreign nationals and South Africans as well. It goes against not only the values of our Constitution, but it also goes against our vision of a united, integrated, and prosperous Africa. Because of our commitment to this vision, we, comrades, have invited former President Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania and former President Joaquim Chissano of Mozambique to lead a fact-finding mission to our country to understand the causes of the recent outbreak of violence and to make recommendations on how we can ensure that such incidents do not recur. Now, I was in Zimbabwe recently, comrades, and our Zimbabwean comrades were there. And a number of leaders on the African continent were asked to address the Zimbabwean people at the memorial of the late President Robert Mugabe. When I stood up to go and address the 40,000 or so people, they all collectively expressed their unhappiness about my presence there. they were expressing it because of what some of their own nationals, our own brothers from Zimbabwe, had been subjected to here in South Africa. And they expressed that unhappiness, and I felt it. And I felt that at that particular moment, it was necessary to engage with our brethren and our sisters in Zimbabwe by saying, I regret what has happened, and I also apologize. Now, there's been two views that have been expressed. Other compatriots in South Africa say, you should never have apologized. Why were you apologizing? And some said, President, you gave leadership by explaining to our fellow Zimbabweans that what happened did not represent what we are as South Africans. That what happened. And comrades, it was necessary. It was necessary to give an explanation because I was feeling the heartbeat, the hurt and the pain that Zimbabweans were going through. And if you remember that we are one and we are the same people. If we remember that, then we will feel the pain that was being felt by our fellow brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe. Because they got a sense that we were not being tolerant. They got a sense that we did not appreciate them. But I did say to our brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe, South Africans are not xenophobic. And I repeat it now. We as South Africans, we are not xenophobic. We do not hate nationals from other countries, and especially the Zimbabwean brothers and sisters. We do not. So, comrades, there are those who say, President, you should never have done it. You were showing a sign of weakness by saying all that. And I say, comrades, I was demonstrating leadership. And through that, comrades, we were warmly received. And at the same time, comrades, we have sent envoys. We have sent former Minister Jeff Radebe to various other capitals on our continent, to Nigeria, to Senegal, to Cote d'Ivoire, and all those countries. And he will now continue in other parts of the continent, go to Tanzania, to Kenya, as well as to Malawi and places like that. He is going out with a clear message to explain our situation. Because, comrades, we are not an island. South Africa is not an island. We are connected to this continent, and we are Africans. That is what we need to know in our own hearts. And so, as he is going around, he's being well received, warmly received, and was even able to get confirmation that President Muhammad Buhari of Nigeria is going to come and visit our country so that South Africa and Nigeria can consolidate our relationship and our friendship. And that is what is important for us. Comrades, we must recognize, though, that what has happened in the past few weeks has also fueled the insecurities, the frustration, and the anger amongst many of our people at the daily challenges that they face. Our own people face poverty, they face unemployment, they face crime and drugs. And comrades, when we say we must not be intolerant, it does not mean that we care less about what our own citizens, South Africans, are going through. We are saying we fully recognize that yes, our own citizens are going through a very difficult time. Someone was even able to say in an article, the president must apologize to South Africans as well. And you know what? Yes, I am prepared to apologize to our own people and say over the 25 years, much as we have brought about changes, there are quite a number of people in our own country who are still poor, who are still unemployed. And for that, I regret and I apologize. And we are going to work very hard to make sure that we address the needs of our people. Because, comrades, in the end, we have to balance everything. Yes, as we say to our brethren in Zimbabwe, that yes, we regret what has happened. We must, by same measure, be able to say to our own people, yes, we regret that we are in this situation. And it is for this reason that we are working hard and we are intensifying our efforts to create jobs and other economic opportunities where our own people live, and to ensure that we provide services to all efficiently and effectively and tackle all the challenges that our people are going through. Comrades, we affirm, as we did earlier this week, the fundamental principle that all people living in South Africa, yes, must be here legally. And I said in Parliament the other day, there was a president who came during the World Economic Forum conference, and they had an opportunity to meet their own nationals who met this president and said, we are concerned about being here in South Africa. And the president was very straightforward. He says, I understand, but you must also understand that if we had to have a lot of South Africans in our own country and they were not documented, they did not have the proper papers, and they were engaging in a whole number of criminal activities, we would not be happy. We would not be happy, and they confirmed that. So, comrades, the balance that we seek, because let us understand, the many people who come to our country, people don't just wake up and say we are going. They go because there's something that is pushing them. There is something that is making them want to leave and come to other countries for greener pastures. And we say, yes, we've always been a country that has welcomed others. And we are saying, we want everyone, including South Africans, to be documented. We want, including South Africans, when we start a business, you must have a permit to run that business. You must be able to demonstrate that, yes, just like Umfundisi was saying, Umfundisi put it so well. Uthe, wayefuna ukuyoshumayela eZimbabwe. When he got there, just to go and preach, ayofunda iGenesis, ayofunda incwadi kaMateyu, nencwadi kaLuka, ayenze umthandazo. That's all he wanted to do. But Mfundisi, before you come and do that, uzothandaza, the God who is almighty for everyone, bathi gcwalisa na iform, fill up this form. Kusho umfundisi, and he had to fill up a form. So umfundisi uthi uhulumeni ana laba abanye abazayo bazoshumayela la niyabagcwalisa yini amafomu na ngoba yena ufuna njalo. So comrades, what this means, this is what it means. It means ukuthi, as we deal with, yes, this issue of migration, when we deal with migration, we cannot be intolerant. We cannot express our dislike and our hatred to our fellow Africans. As we deal with it, we say, yes, South Africa is open, but we want you to come in a regular manner, because we will not allow our sovereignty to be undermined like no country wants its own sovereignty to be undermined. We must ensure that everyone who is in South Africa respects the laws of the Republic of South Africa. Like all of us, when we travel to other countries, we must know, and this is where the balance comes in, we must know that we are also expected to follow the laws of the countries where we travel to. Where there is crime, where there is drug peddling, let us work with the police to bring those who are responsible to book. And we should not take things into our own hands. We should not take the law into our own hands. Comrades, it makes no difference whether the criminals are South African or foreign nationals. The law must be applied with equal severity and with equal measure to everybody. This movement, the African National Congress, was founded more than a century ago to bring together the people of this entire region, to put aside their differences, to unite in pursuit of democracy and freedom. It was founded on the realization that a people divided will never overcome the political and economic and social shackles that hold them down. The words of Pixley Kaisakasem, written at the time of the formation of the ANC, still echo down the ages. He said, "The demon of racialism, the aberrations of the Xhosa and Fingos, the animosity that exists between the Zulus and the Tongas, between the Basotho and every native, must be buried and forgotten. It has shed among us enough blood. We are one people. The divisions, the jealousies are the cause of all our woes and troubles and all our backwardness and ignorance today." That was said when the ANC was formed. Now, as President Mugabe affirmed time and time again, we are one people. As he also affirmed, we will not achieve the unity of all Africans if we ourselves are not united as a movement. He was irrevocably committed to unity of comrades involved in struggle and transformation. It was his unrelenting commitment to the unity that resulted in the merger of ZAPU and ZANU to form the formidable ZANU-PF. Now, comrades, at our 54th National Conference, we were given a clear mandate to forge unity and to renew the African National Congress. When I was elected president, I took that as my overriding mandate. And I knew that this was the mandate I had to pursue, yes, at all costs, and spare no effort in achieving this mandate. We have made tremendous progress in uniting our movement. When we started off after Nasrec, our unity was wobbly. Our unity beyintenga-ntenga, singabambani kahle. Nakhona besingabhekani kahle nasemehlweni, singasebenzisani kahle. But comrades, with time, that unity has become stronger and stronger. There are still some pockets where that unity is still weak, and we still have our work cut out. And I'm hoping that when we go to our NGC next year, mid-year, we will be able to solidify that unity to take us to the 55th conference. So that, comrades, labo abati NGC kuzobonakala ukuthi ubani umekuphi uyenza njani sibaphoqe sibabonise ukuthi iNGC is going to consolidate the unity of our movement, because that is what the NGC is going to do. NGC is for renewal, NGC is for revival, NGC is to see how far we have gone. Now, comrades, in this regard, I wish to salute you here in KZN for the manner in which you are working to forge unity amongst yourselves, demonstrating at all times. Comrades, lapho ngiyakunqoma. I always say ukuthi KZN leads on many fronts, and even on unity, comrades. As we were still going this way and that way, KZN showed the way to unity. I received regional chairpersons eGoli beza kimi bathi, President, we are here to tell you ukuthi we are going to unite KZN, and we are going to unite KZN behind you as the president of the ANC. And comrades, I was greatly encouraged. And I was also greatly encouraged ngokubona the way you went to your provincial conference, you united yourself, and you resisted attempts and efforts to disunite you. Nabaphoqa labo abebefuna ukuthi nibhidlike ningabi i-united province. Ngiyabonga, comrades. Comrades, in this regard, you are an exemplary structure of our movement in teaching all of us that regardless of how we feel about one another, regardless of how we look at each other, regardless of how we may differ, we are bound together in the ANC because of our common commitment to the ideals of non-racialism, non-sexism, democracy, and prosperity for all. Yona ANC la ihamba khona. The efforts to build maximum principled unity must, as a matter of necessity, be accompanied by discipline. Discipline, comrades, ifanele ukuthi ibe khona as we forge unity. We too must be disciplined enough to follow the directives of the movement, so that once a determination has been made by a constitutionally empowered structure, that must be the directive which all of us follow. And consistent with the precepts of democratic centralism, to which our movement subscribes, decisions of the majority have a binding effect on the minority, and decisions of the upper structure bind the lower structure as well. That is how it should be. Comrades, it is only when we observe both the letter and the spirit of discipline and our adherence to the values of our movement that we will be able to say we are united and we become a cohesive organization. As the experience of Zimbabwe and several countries in our region has demonstrated, even the most popular progressive national liberation movements can experience periods of decline and decay. It was the view of the delegates of the 54th conference that the ANC had been severely weakened by a number of new tendencies that had emerged, some of which had emerged, yes, by our incumbency in political office, by corruption, by factionalism, and by a decline in the consciousness of all of us. The delegates therefore determined that we should undertake this process of renewal and rebuilding. This was necessary, comrades, to ensure that the integrity of our movement was restored and that it was able to effectively serve the people of South Africa. We have set out the path to restoration and revitalization. And comrades, our restoration, our renewal is underway. Our people are beginning to look at the African National Congress with fresh eyes. And that is why, even in the various local government elections that we are having, special elections, the ANC continues to win election after election, showing that our people still love the ANC, and they are looking at us anew with fresh eyes, and they see that we are serious about unity and renewal. As we intensify our efforts, we should look to the example of ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe and the liberation movements in other countries, so that we can better understand the challenges and also be able to avoid some pitfalls. The struggle against colonialism and apartheid was not only, comrades, a struggle for political emancipation, but it was a struggle for economic emancipation. It was a struggle for land, and it was a struggle for the minerals on our continent. That is what the struggle was also about. It was a struggle, as President Mugabe understood it, for the people of this continent to exercise ownership and control over their own economies. It was a struggle to ensure that all may equally share in what is produced on our continent. That is now our struggle, as it is for the people of Zimbabwe, the struggle for radical socio-economic transformation that fundamentally changes the conditions of the life of the majority of our people. That is why we must build an inclusive economy that has the means to grow and create work for the millions of unemployed people in our country. We must place productive assets in the hands of our people. And comrades, we need to go beyond just talking about it. We need to embark on real programs of how we are going to give assets to our people, because right now our people are asset poor. They don't have assets. Abanayo umhlaba, abanayo nemali, abanayo nemisebenzi. And what we should be doing as the African National Congress is ukuthi sibanike umhlaba, sibanike imisebenzi, bathole nemali so that bazokwazi ukuthi bazondle ngokwabo. That is what we are supposed to do. So the leadership of President Mugabe is a clear reminder to many revolutionaries that the land question is central to the economic liberation of our people. And President Mugabe understood very clearly what Amilcar Cabral said. And he said, always bear in mind that the people are not fighting for ideas, for the things in anybody's head. They are fighting to win material benefits, to live better and in peace, to see their lives go forward, to guarantee a future for their own children. That is what the struggle is all about. The 54th Conference, comrades, took a resolution on the land issue, and this is a crystallization of the observations and the lessons we've got to learn. Like President Mugabe did, we must invest also in the education of our people. We must make sure that every child receives at least 2 years of early childhood development, that every 10-year-old can read for meaning, that no young person is denied education because of the income of their parents, like President Mugabe did, we must also invest in the health of the nation. Zimbabwe, comrades, right from the time of independence, started leading the whole continent on these two critical issues, on education and health. President Mugabe made sure that the literacy levels of the people of Zimbabwe went way up, having started from way down during the period of colonialism. And today, well over 90-something% of the people of Zimbabwe are literate. Their literacy levels have reached really high levels. And we will forever remember President Mugabe for the efforts that he made to educate the people of Zimbabwe. The task of radical social and economic transformation requires, comrades, that we should also change the position of women in society. No longer can women earn less than men. No longer can they be more likely to be unemployed or live in poverty. In fact, we must now begin to think about ways we can say women must earn exactly the same amount as men for the equal work that they all do. That is what we must now move towards. No longer should they occupy subordinate positions at the home, in communities, in the church, in government or workplace. No longer should they feel unsafe in their own homes and in the streets. In advancing our program of radical social economic transformation, in safeguarding the rights and dignity of all people, we need to mobilize all South Africans to bring an end, comrades, to violence against women and children. This week, in a special joint sitting of the Houses of Parliament, we announced a comprehensive strategy against gender-based violence that draws on the resources and the capabilities of the state. And we are now going to allocate quite a bit of money to make sure that we bring gender-based violence to an end. But we also, comrades, we also need to pay attention to what our children are exposed to. We just went with Comrade Sihle and other members who are leaders. We just went to the family of the children, the 4 children who were killed by their father. The killing of children in our nation continues, and we must now raise the level of consciousness amongst all of us that children must be safe and children must not be killed. We must undertake these tasks, comrades, in honor of Comrade Robert Mugabe and other great leaders of his time. We must undertake this task to give life to their vision of a free and prosperous Africa. And we must undertake this task because our people deserve nothing less. President Mugabe was a product of his time. There will be no other President Robert Gabriel Mugabe. He was of a special type. And he was the only Robert Gabriel Mugabe on the whole continent who was brave, who was articulate, who was forthright in everything that he said, but who was an outstanding revolutionary. And we dip our heads to him for that. Now, our task, comrades, is to take the best lessons from the life of President Mugabe and continue the struggle to create a better Africa and a better world. We pay tribute to him as a great liberator who sought to unite his people and lead them in the fight for the return of the wealth of their land. We will always remember him as a forthright leader, who made no apologies in warning his people against colonial and imperial powers bent on undermining the rights of Africans to self-determination. Yes, we dip our banners in honor of an African revolutionary whose greatest desire was for the Zimbabwean people to become masters of their own destiny. And we say collectively that we would like, yes, Comrade Robert Gabriel Mugabe to rest in peace. But as our comrades from Zimbabwe said, but to rest in peace with a smile on his face. A smile on his face knowing that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has honored him through these lectures that they have organized. And in Shona, I would like to say, Fambai Zwakanaka Mushungo, Hamba kahle Mushungo. We will forever remember you as a gallant and outstanding leader of this continent. There are some in our own nation who would like to devalue his name, who would like to reduce his stature. But because we were in the trenches with him, and we saw his leadership qualities, we say, Comrade Robert Mugabe, you were a towering leader, and we will forever honor you and remember you. Because as we see you, we also remember the other gallant leaders in our own ranks. We remember the contributions that were made by leaders like Nelson Mandela, who you worked and schooled with, Oliver Tambo, who you worked and schooled with, and next year we will also be remembering very fondly another giant leader of our struggle who will be celebrating the centenary of his life, Ubaba uHerry Gwala. Siyabonga, ngiyabonga.
Mandla, awethu. Long live President Matamela, long live. Long live President Matamela, long live. Long live the undying spirit of President Robert Mugabe, long live. Long live the undying spirit of President Robert Mugabe, long live. Mandla. Siyabonga, President. President has said there is no room for xenophobia. As women of this country, we applaud, President, the joint sitting that you called last Wednesday. Because we want to say to you, President, there must equally be no room for femicide. There must equally be no room for rapists. There must equally be no room for criminals and drug lords who attack our police and want to take this country into a state of lawlessness. We want to applaud you, President, for trying to reflect on these matters in your joint sitting. Because as women of this country, we want to feel safe. It can't be that we cannot walk outside when it turns dark, but equally it can't be that there are areas within our own country where we are afraid to walk, even during the day. We thank you, President. President, we are grateful for educating us on the giant that President Robert Mugabe was, not only as a revolutionary, but also as one of the most educated presidents in the world. We are really grateful, President. But equally, we'd like to say to you and report to you and the chairperson of this province that indeed, the people still love the ANC. And this is reflected by the fact that just last Wednesday, we won the by-election of Ward 18 in this particular sub-region of Umsunduzi. And we are making a commitment to say we will also win the 2 by-elections that are coming in Moimpofana as well as in this particular sub-region in Ward 33. Comrades, we have been joined by an elder of this organization, Umama Ruth Bengu, also a Minister of Small Business, Umhlonishwa Ukumbutso Dadewethu. We also were joined by the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the speaker of this municipality, who have made a commitment to me, Uguti, not again will we come to this city hall and be subjected to this heat. Comrades, comrade Upesan, it was not by disrespect leadership that I didn't acknowledge you, and it has nothing to do with the fact that on the 13th I officially relinquished my standing in the youth movement that you are now a caretaker for. We acknowledge you, leadership. Comrades, without further ado, I'd like to call upon our RTT convener to give us words of thanks. But on my side, I'd like to appreciate comrades of this region for the discipline that you have showed, for not disturbing the proceedings, even when you did not have a place to sit or stand. We are truly grateful. And Comrade Kuzeni, this is the reflection of the discipline that resides in the region of Herigwan. Comrade Suez.
Nanda! Our 2. Comrade, greeting to our president, Comrade Nokawe, our convener in the province, Stalo, Shemenu wethu KwaZulu-Natal, Comrade Kuzeni, NEC members present, ngizokhawuleza nje ngenxa yesikhathi, all our PEC members present here with the Comrade Vuyiswa here, Comrade Mshengu, Youth League. I saw Comrade Unobhala Uslalo ANC Women's League in the province, Umamkoza. I saw our regional secretary Women's League, Comrade Zanele Ngobo, and all comrades present, to our councillors that are present here, all mayors, speakers, deputy mayors, to our delegates from our Zimbabwe, we greet you all. Comrades, we want to pass one message to you, President Ozostatela Yona, to the NEC, and say, Comrade Kuzeni has led us to this unity that you see here. If we tell you, Comrade Nokawe, she will phone all the time at night, even now 12 ebusuku, and say, go and see what is going on there. If you look at the city hall at some stage, it was a battlefield. When you call a meeting, you have to call bodyguards at Kwalela. But that's where we're coming from. That's a reality. But because of the PEC led by Comrade Kuzeni and Comrade Mdudumseni, we where we are. We are saying once again, Comrade, leadership that is led by Comrade Umkombo and Vuyiswa, thank you, Comrade, for assisting us to be where we are. Comrade Manzinza, with your humbleness, I think you brought us where we are. It wasn't easy. To all our ANC volunteers, Alana Mtanje, I think you have done very well. I think we must also say, if it wasn't for by effort for all of you, definitely. I want to tell you, Kuzeni, today, We were battling even to walk. We are now even ready to run. And also I want to pass this message to our comrade councillors. What does this mean? It means let's go back to basics. Let's go back and report to our BECs, what are we doing in this city hall? Because what caused them affections here is because we're spending so much time here instead of your respective wards. So we are saying, comrades, it is about time we start now reporting onto what we are getting paid for. So we are saying, comrades, it is about time we unite this Moses Mapida region. It is for all of us to stand together and say, sekwanele kulaba becabanga ukuthi ngeke siphinde siunite. I want to assure you, Comrade Kuzen, Yonke Alliance, we are working together. To those comrades that we had differences, we are now talking. We had our meetings that actually trying to unite ourselves. I 100% agree with the statement by our President Robert Mugabe, which says nobody will unite us except ourselves. So we have started and we are talking. We are not enemies. And also I want to pass this message. No, I will have to do this, President. When we go back, let's remember, because when we don't do our work, because of affections. So it is important for all of us, go and pray for unity in Moses Mapida region. The President has led the unity issue in this country. Comrade Kuzen and Comrade Tumtumsene have led us to this unity. It is now upon ourselves to go and say, yes, we can unite our ANC in Moses Mapida region. So I'm pleading with all of you, comrades, sitting a memorial service, the President Robert Mugabe, Saibon goes. So ingako namanje sekwenza ukuthi ube stronger than before to stand in front of you and say to those who are newly deployed, it is not our turn to eat. It is our turn to renew and rebuild our movement. It is about time we all go back and tell our comrades, when are you going to employ them? It is about time you don't look at your own family when there's an employment. It is about time we go and report back. Speaker, to all our municipalities, report to us. Those report backs, those back to basics report, it is about time we get those. To know what each and every councillor is doing on a daily basis. So we are saying, Uvuiswa is reminding me what I'm supposed to close. But it's only unfortunate. Part of me is no comrade Uvuzi is ayoni. When no more uvuga no mainini. But comrade, in all fairness, President, your presence, Comrade Kuzen, your presence here today is actually encouraging us to work even more. Comrade, we want to thank you. President ungathi baluphinda ubuye. Ke kube mnandi njalo mangabe ula. Amandla! Awethu! Siyabonga.
Amandla! Awethu! Ucabashe esesivalele. Comrades, kukho ukhiye esutholile. If you are missing car keys, kindly see myself, otherwise you will have problems going home. Comrades, can we please not leave until such time that the leadership has left the house? We are appealing to comrades not to leave until the leadership has left. Thank you very much. Amandla!
Inkosi ufanya